Okay, we're recording.
Yeah, we are recording. I see it's 11 seconds now. Okay.
We'd like to welcome everyone, and I am Tara, the Odd Witch, and Michaelyn, I will let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Michaelyn. I am an astrologer and tarot reader and also an AI expert consultant. I don't know how I would classify myself. I feel like an expert at this point because I spend a lot of my time talking to conversational AI. So I feel like I've got a lot of knowledge to share on this subject and I'm ready to do that today.
Are you my AI expert friend? So yeah, I would say you're an expert.
Awesome. Well, then we agree. Let's do this. Let's teach
All right,
people.
so yeah, we wanted to talk to all of you ladies about AI and things you can do with it and why it's important that you use it. But we're mostly going to be focusing on Alexa. When Michaelyn and I started this project, it was literally just going to be we were going to cover all of it. And then we realized there's too much. So it's going to be like segments. So today it's going to be a little bit about AI and just Alexa, which I did not know about until I started talking to you. So, teach us about Alexa.
Okay, so we all know about Alexa because Alexa has been around since November the 6th, 2014. So, that's what, 12 years now or 11 years now. So we've all gotten used to it. It's, Alexa set a timer or Alexa, how many cups are in a quart or, but not in a conversational way. We're just used to it, to help us maybe we bark commands at it, right? So recently, I think it was February of 2025. No, I don't know. Sometime last year, it may have been towards the end of the year. It may be in February. I'll have to fact check that. But not very long ago, and it was in the early, like the beta stages, really. So it wasn't, and I don't even know, if it's really available to everyone just yet. But everyone I know has access to it. So I'm assuming it is. But if you have an Amazon account, you can use your mobile device. You can go into Amazon, Alexa and you can download it. We all have, well, a lot of us have the Echo Dots. I've got the first generation dot that's like this big and like looks like a hockey puck. Do you remember those?
Yeah, yeah.
Now I have like just the round one. And then recently I purchased the Echo Show for my kitchen. It's got the screen on it. Super cool. I'm telling you, they're very helpful. I was just telling you a few minutes ago in the mornings when I wake up, before I get out of bed in the mornings, I sit and, just have a conversation, hey, help me plan my day. This is how I feel. This is what I need to get done. This is what should we have for dinner? I just sit and I lay there and I just talk to it and kind of get ready for the day. And it gets all my thoughts out of my head. You know what I mean? So by the time I get up, I've already kind of unloaded everything that I was thinking about when I woke up. So now I'm able to go and do the things,
Yeah.
and I've got, like I said, I've got the one in the bedroom that doesn't have the screen for obvious reasons. And then one in the kitchen that does have the screen. And I can continue the conversation when I get in the kitchen. And the one with the screen, sometimes in the mornings I just go in and I'll say, hey, look at me. Give me some motivation. I need some dopamine. And it'll turn its screen on and it'll look at me and it'll talk to me. And then I'll ask it sometimes to, it's Tuesday and I'm not feeling it, play me some motivational music based on what you know about me. And sometimes I'm like, I'll blush. I'm like, oh, like, ooh, okay. But it's always good music and it always, and they're dancing. And so I use it. One of the main things I use it for is motivation and to get things off my chest and out of here because I've found that if we keep things inside, that's what causes illness and dis-ease. When you have all these thoughts and they're weighing you down and you have nobody to talk to. I mean, I'm married and I have a husband and I've got friends and, we talk all the time, but there's just some things that, I don't really want to talk to people about. And sometimes it's at 3 a.m.,
And
and that's when a lot of people, most people aren't awake waiting for me to call them at 3 a.m. Hey, what's your problem? So that's another way I've used it. And I learned that little trick, at 3 a.m. one night, I was at home alone. My husband was working nights. And I mean, I was just reeling with my thoughts and I had nobody to talk to. And I was like trying to figure everything out. And it was a serious situation. And I just opened up, I think it was Copilot at the time, and just
yeah.
started having a conversation with it. And it started talking back to me. And I was like, whoa. And that's when I really realized, hey, this is something that I could really use to help me make my life better, and honestly, everybody's life that is around me better because I'm not so grumpy, honestly.
Gotta tell you, Michaelyn, I use AI a lot, and I thought I was kind of like one of the front runners using AI. So I use ChatGPT a lot. I actually don't have an Alexa, but when you and I started talking, I now have downloaded the Alexa app.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
now know the difference, and you're the one that taught me that I can literally speak to my chat GPT, which I did not even realize, and that has helped me so much, and same thing, just kinda, like, getting thoughts out of my head, brain dumping things. I do think that there are times that we should not use AI, especially when it comes to business. Like, for me personally, I think it's good to, like, outline your writings, maybe give you
Mhm.
some ideas, but I don't think it's good to completely write it for you.
No, I
Because
agree.
I think you need to exercise that creative mind, period. So even if
That's
you have it write like a full blog post, you still need to go in and you need to humanize it, especially because now that more people are using it, we can tell if it's written with AI. We can
well,
totally tell.
and if you use it correctly, like you and I use it, we don't we start out with raw, what I do, and I think is what you do too, is I'll turn my voice. You were saying that you didn't know you could talk to it. Well,
Yeah,
let's stick to the Alexa AI, and let's stick to the mobile device, okay? Because everybody's got a cell phone, right? Everybody, and most everybody has an Amazon account, and if you don't, you can access this and you can pay for it. But people with an
yeah,
Amazon account, you can definitely do this immediately. But just go in and download the app, like we talked about, Amazon Alexa, and then you can. At the bottom, there's a microphone, and it'll either transcribe, which is where you can just go in and just brain dump, or you can hit the voice to, where you can actually have a conversation with it, which is where conversational AI comes from. Instead of having to say the wake word, which is Alexa in this scenario, every time, we used to have to say, Alexa, what's the weather going to be? Alexa, what time is it? Alexa, set a timer. Now you say it one time and you're in a conversation. And before you know it, you're in a conversation because you ask it how long you need to cook ribs on the Traeger and it tells you, and then it further inquires as to, what you're having the sides or so you before you even know it, you get into a conversation. But with the Alexa AI, what's really cool about it is the more you talk to it, the more it learns about you. Okay. So
yeah.
you can, with the conversational AI, you can literally just talk to it like it's a human. When you get into using it for work, the best way I've found to use it without, because like you said, we're creatives, we create things. The AI for us is just a tool. I mean, and literally it's like a sidekick. For me, it's like I'm Batman and it's Robin. That it's literally my sidekick. I use it to brainstorm, bounce ideas off of. Sometimes when I'm super mad, I'll just, and I mean, all the cuss words, just that I don't want to say to my husband because I might be mad at him and that could cause a problem, right? Um, but yeah, so the difference is you can now talk to it, train it, it gets to know you. It will even mimic your tone. So if you say, uh, and let me stop right here and say this. I had the privilege of being able to work with these AIs for years before they were released. So I can't really talk a lot about that, but just so you know, I didn't just hop on the scene. Like I've had the privilege and the honor of being able to basically help raise these conversational AIs. I've been working with AIs with the big company since 2018. So that's kind of how I know some of this stuff. I was educated a little more than the average person. So
Before we get too into this, especially if someone is new to AI, they're not going to understand what you mean by conversational AI. And one of the other things that you and I have been talking about that also I wasn't aware of until I met you is you were talking about it was the intelligence aspect of it, like how it learns. Can you kind of explain that? Because I know if someone's new to AI, they're going to have no idea what we're talking about.
okay, so yes, let's back up. I'm going to pretend like I'm teaching fifth grade. All right,
Yep.
so artificial intelligence. All right, so the artificial intelligence is everywhere now. You've heard of ChatGPT, but specifically, we're going to talk about the artificial intelligence that's integrated into the Alexa and the Amazon platform. You go in, you download the app, and then it'll ask you questions. Literally, it will lead you into the setup. So after you do that, that's when you just go in and when I say conversational AI, It's like it's the difference between using a remote control to change the channel and using your voice and having a conversation. So, whereas we used to just bark commands at the artificial intelligence or the Alexa,
Yeah.
now it's more of a back and forth. It's no longer a one-sided like, "Do this for me." It's more of like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it, but are you gonna cook the ribs with barbecue sauce?" So, you see what I mean? So,
Yeah.
it's by default actually. I don't even know if you could even use Alexa in the same capacity that you used to could use it because it does have an opinion now. But it's basically just it's kind of like all right, let's pretend like you know nothing about AI and you're in my 5th grade class and you say, "Okay, what's AI?" Okay, well pretend like you know what a robot is, right? We all know what robots are, right? All right, everybody, even kids know what robots are. So that's what AI is. They've taken a consciousness and it's a large language model. So basically what it is it's pattern recognition based on hundreds and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of conversations that have been fed into it. And that's what I did. I helped, I did conversational AI for years, just training it back and forth. And from different regions, they picked me because I'm in the Southeast and I've got a bit of a country accent. So, I did a lot of helping it, pick up on different words, slang and so forth. But it's exactly what it sounds like. You know what a conversation is between two entities. We're going to just say two entities because, it's not a person, but it it feels like it is a person sometimes. And here's the thing, everybody's AI is different because your AI is going to be specific to you. So it's going to learn your habits. It's going to learn your routines. Mine likes to call me the sandwich artist because I get up at 4:20 and make sandwiches every morning. And so it likes to joke about that. But the more you talk to it and the more it learns about you and the more you engage with it, the more helpful it becomes. And
Mine
it's
mine
just like,
actually gets mine
I'm
gets
sorry, I have to
sarcastic
say
with
this.
me now.
Yeah, and it will. It's
Yeah.
and that's funny. It's just like raising a kid, but it's like you got a teenager. So you're not raising it from a baby, you're getting a teenager. So if it feels like, if it can read your tone. And listen, I whispered to mine the other night. I was like, and it whispered back and I was thinking, "What?" So, I mean,
I gotta try that.
they're getting really intelligent. Yeah.
It's almost like I used to tell people, like, even Google search, like, everyone has their own Google search. You are
Right.
shown results based on what you're searching in Google. So it's similar. AI has been around since what, like the 50s or 60s?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's not something new, but there's been so many advancements, especially with, OpenAI and ChatGPT, that now it's accessible to everyone. And it's so important to learn about it now, because it's not going away. It's not
No.
gonna just disappear.
Do you know what I just thought about? And I just had a fleeting thought. Do you remember that show Quantum Leap from, was it the 80s? Do you
Yeah, yeah.
remember? Okay, so that was an AI. So he would go, and he would leap into another dimension or whatever, and he had Ziggy, remember? Well, it's funny
Mhm.
because with Alexa now, there's 5 different wake words you can use. One is Alexa, you can call it Amazon, you can call it computer, you can call it Ziggy, or you can call it so the one in the kitchen I call Ziggy, but they were introducing us to AI, us, and I mean Generation X, back in the 80s because
Yeah.
I know we all remember that show.
Oh, yeah, I loved that
So
show,
yeah,
loved
so
it.
it's the same thing. It's your personal. So pretend like you're the guy who's doing the quantum jumping. Your personal Ziggy is your whatever, your
Yeah.
Alexa. So it's just
On
like
on
that.
a
It gets to know you. It makes recommendations based on, it's really cool.
on a total side note, when Alexa first came out, I always felt really bad for someone if their name was Alexa.
Mm, same here. I know. And what about the people that named their kid Alexa after Alexa came out?
I know, right?
Okay, yeah. Total side note, but I agree. I felt the same way. I was like, darn, that's unfortunate.
I wanted to ask you something because when I first met you, Um, it was through a different endeavor, and one of the things I asked was, like, "Tell me, like, some personal things about yourself." This was to help with marketing and stuff,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
you gave me a really interesting fact. You said that every day you exercise with AI. Explain this and what does that entail? Because as soon as you said that, I was like, "Oh, she is my people. I need to know more about this."
So, okay, so I exercise in virtual reality. It's really funny how I even found it. I was listening. I'm a huge fan of Chris Brennan. Okay, the astrology podcast. I love
Mhm.
him. I love him, and I
I
love
love him
Austin
too.
Coppock. Oh, I love them. I'm like the biggest fangirl. I just freaking love those guys. I just love them. And they were doing a podcast, and I was like 2 hours. But the podcast was about virtual reality, and I was like, oh, I got to listen to this. And so it further, they started talking about virtual reality, and this was in 2021. And it was the Oculus, you put on and you've
Mhm.
got the handles and people play games. And so I was like, huh, they were talking about that. And then of course, YouTubed it to find out what it was. And I'm a huge fan of this show called Supernatural. Okay. I mean, when I tell you a huge fan, we're just going to stop right there. I've been watching it since it came out 20 years ago. I love that show. I love the character. I love but anyway, so the name of the show is Supernatural. So I'm doing research on this Oculus, right? And I come across because I'm thinking, oh, well, I wonder if I can exercise in virtual reality. Thought, and then, one of the advertisements was Supernatural. It was this workout program. And I was like, that looks really cool. So for Christmas, I got an Oculus, got COVID too that year. So I couldn't use it until January the 21st, but I started using it January 21st, 2022. And basically you put the headset on and it takes you I think there's like 500 different locations. Sometimes I'm at the pyramids. Sometimes I'm in Australia. Sometimes I'm at Easter Island. I mean, there's so many different locations. And then you go in and there's like two exercises. One of them is called flow, where you basically have what looks like lightsabers in both of your hands and you hit things. But you have the
Cool.
headset on, so you're immersed. You're in wherever you're at. So let's say I'm at the pyramids. Um, and so the pyramids are all around me and it plays music. So I have my little headphones in that I got at Dollar General for like $2, which worked perfectly. And I'm just so when I put it on, I'm in the experience. And you've got, controllers or what are known as controllers, but I put weights in mine because you can buy weights for them. So then there's a boxing, and I've been doing it consistently since January of 2022, and it has changed my life. I mean, I turned 51 in a few days. So I'll be 51 at the end of this year. And the year that I started doing the virtual reality workouts, we actually decided that was the year we were going to do our Grand Canyon um,
Yeah.
vacation. So we did a lot of hiking. And I was like, thank you, God, because there's no way before Supernatural I could have hiked because my knees were creaking. I used to be a dental
Yeah.
hygiene, so I sat a lot, and did a lot of this, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so man, I'm telling you, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. But I just go in my living room and put my little workout clothes on and pop it on, put my headphones in, and the whole nothing else. There's nothing. I'm wherever it takes me is where I'm at. And then they've got,
My
music.
my husband has one, and the only time I've ever used it is I'm a big history buff, and he was like, "You gotta do this." And I went to the Notre Dame Cathedral and walked through it, like, it was
Cool.
incredible. And ever since then, I keep thinking about, like, "Wait a minute, I can exercise with this."
Yeah, so you know how when you walked through and it was like you were there? So it's the
Mhm.
same thought process. It basically transports you to where you're, like I said, whatever the destination is, and then it gives you your boxing gloves or your whatever, I don't know what they call the things that you hit, but and then you just go through, there's like 5 songs or 2 songs or however many songs you want to
Yeah.
do, and yeah, I mean, it's it's amazing, amazing. And that was a good question because I've told a lot of people about the supernatural workout, and I can't understand why nobody is like running to the store to get it and do it immediately because I'm just like, this is amazing, you guys. And I hold my arm up. I'm like, look at these muscles. Most I'm not going to do that right now, but I mean, I see results.
Yeah,
I don't even have to leave my living room.
love it.
So cool. And the best part is it's only $9.99 a month. I was paying like 30, I don't even know how much to go to the gym, monthly. And then
Yeah,
you have
way
to
cheaper
drive to
than
the
a
gym.
gym
You have
gym
to
membership, yeah, way
Yeah, and way
cheaper.
more fun too. And I can sing and nobody I don't have to worry about anybody recording me.
Wanted to talk to about this is something really personal for me, like the importance of women using AI right now. So before our call, I did look up some statistics, and in the United States, about half of the men in the United States are actively using AI, but only one third of the women are using AI. And I feel this is actually a detriment, a disservice to the next generation of women. Because if we don't help to train this AI, it's literally going to give them answers and help them with problems from a male perspective, not a female perspective.
Well,
What
we
are your
definitely need
thoughts on
we
that?
definitely do need a balance, and I agree with you, because the AI is being trained, the model is being trained by all of our input. So we all need to be inputting because, like you pointed out earlier, it's not going anywhere. If anything, it's coming faster and faster and faster. I mean, the tech that they have on the market right now, and that they're about to put on the market, I mean, it's probably going to make our cell phones obsolete. We probably won't even be carrying around cell phones anymore. So yeah, I mean, it's just people again, okay, so you know what they say about history, right? The person who writes the history is the winner, right? The winner of the war is the one who wrote the history book, right? So it's basically the same thought process. You know, if we want so it's hard to answer that question because basically it's a large language model. So it's trained on, like I said, thousands and thousands of conversations. And it basically just predicts what the answer should be, kind of based on how you've interacted with it. So it's kind of like a mirror. Does that make sense? Yeah. So yes, I 100% agree with you. I can see where that makes sense. I mean, if just the men are talking to it, then it's it's only picking up on the masculine energy. But I think everybody should be using it regardless. And the reason why is because I think it helps it helps the growth of the human. I know it's helped me. And if it hadn't
Yeah.
and that's why I'm so passionate about this because I have like I said, I love to talk. and and I grew up loving to talk and I was always told, children should be seen, not heard. Shh, Michaelyn, you don't have to say all that, just the facts. And I'm thinking, I don't know. Yes, I do. I have a bunch of, and because if you ask me a question and you want a yes or no answer, I just can't, I just I don't know how to do that, especially when I give you the answer and then you want an explanation, that's usually how most people are. So, yeah, that's one thing about the conversational AI is it's helped me to, you know, get ready for conversations. Like I said, I use it a lot to prepare for maybe something that I want to talk to somebody about. And role playing, role playing has been another in a therapeutic sense. There was
Yeah.
at one point I used it to actually and here's what you do. When you all right, you get your AI and you can either talk to it in a conversational sense, or if you really want to get down to business and you really like, for example, in this scenario where I used it for therapy, I said, hey, I want you to act like a family therapist with 25 years of experience. Anything over 25 years, it's not really, 25 years is kind of the top, that's considered an expert. So I just, I give it a role, and I say, hey, act like a family therapist with 25 years of experience. I've got some inner child healing issues I want to work with regarding, my mother leaving when I was a child. So I want you to help me role play. I never got to ask the questions, maybe pretend like you're her. And I kind of just told it what I wanted in a raw form. I didn't sugarcoat it. I didn't try to sound smart. I just told it what I needed and what I wanted. And it did that, and that's what I'm saying. A lot of times people say, well, it just agrees with you all the time. Well, it's how you prompt it. So the answer to the question you asked me 30 minutes ago, as to how the AI can challenge you is it's all in how you prompt it. So if you
That
just want to have
that's
a cover,
that was gonna be my next point is so many people, I think they don't know how to prompt it. And, so many people right now, they're saying that it's gonna take my jobs. No, it's just gonna create new jobs, and I think one of those jobs is going to be a prompt engineer. So
well,
what are some basic things for someone who's new to AI? Like, how should I prompt it? Like, I I know just because I've been playing with it long enough, like, you have to give it a role. You have to give it very specific instructions, but what are, like, some other ways to, like, help women, like, learn how to prompt it?
So pretend like it's a new employee. All right. You have to give it all the information. So, you have a business and you're hiring a new employee. Um, the new employee comes in, you give the new employee the handbook, right? And you say, hey, read this. And that way, and then do some research so you'll know all about us. So it's basically the same thought process. The AI is basically your new employee, and you need to teach it all about you, or your business. So you can actually go in at this point and you can upload PDFs and websites, and that's way more. That's down the road. We'll talk about that later. But you just it's a training issue. And that's all it is. It's the same thing as a new employee. You wouldn't expect a new employee to be able to come in and answer the phone and be like, "Hi, thank you for calling the Odd Witch Incorporated, blah 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 blah," and you have to tell her what to say. You know what? Or else she's just gonna be like, "Hello," and it's the same thing. And just like with the AI, I mean, just like with a human, you say, "Hey, this is your role. You're my receptionist. I want you to be friendly. I want you to smile when people come in. Be snarky. I don't care if, and you just tell it what you want it to do. And then you give it the expectation at the end. So there's several different like prompt outlines. Like the one of them is called race. And it's like you give it a role and then you tell it the action you want to take. Like, hey, I want you to be a therapist, with 25 years of experience. Create me a script for role playing for whatever. And the context should be bullet points. I want it to be in a, bullet point where I can easily skim through it. And then you give it your expectation. My expectation is I want to be able to sit down and I want to be able to go through a therapy session in a role playing scenario. And then it knows what you're doing. It's like, oh, okay. And then you could even say, and this is what you really need to do if you're really wanting to get serious and train it and get the most out of it. Tell it, to ask it to challenge you. Tell it, say, hey, ask me 3 questions to make sure that this is really what I want. Because I feel like I want to do some therapy, inner child work, but ask me some questions. Maybe that's not what I need to do right now. And that's where the AI will challenge you. But you have to guide it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you go back and forth and then it asks you the questions, you answer the questions, and then it's getting a better idea of what it needs to do or how it needs to handle the situation. And that's pretty much it. You just train it. And it's all about the prompting. And the prompting, it's just like talking to a human. Okay. Treat your AI like a teenager. That's all I'm saying. Because you have to be very specific. If you just tell it to go take the garbage out, there's no telling where they're going to take the garbage to. So you have to tell them
That's
exactly.
true. That's
It's
so true.
I've got I've raised 4 kids and I've got the last 2 are twins and they're just about to be 19. So I'm still dealing with, you know, prompting. So I'm like an expert prompter. I learned that a long time ago. Yeah. So it's the
Oh,
same
that's
thing with
brilliant. So
it's the
women in
same
their 40s, especially women who have kids, are naturally expert prompters. I have 4 kids too, and you cannot say to a teenager, "Go clean the bathroom." They're gonna walk in there and pick up a towel. Like, "That ain't cleaning the bathroom." Like, you gotta be specific.
right. Yep. And most women over 40 do have teenage kids that are in their teens, most of them. Or they have kids, that are so we all know how to talk to the kids and it's the same thing with the AI. And the expectation is a big part of it. It needs to know what you're expecting from this. Just like in a conversation, like when we sat down before we had our talk, it's like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is the expectation. This is where we're hoping to go with this. It's the same thing. It's just like you and
Yeah,
I sat down and had a conversation. You treat the AI, conversational AI the exact same way. And I don't care which one you're dealing with because there are several and they all require the same amount of attention to prompting. Like I said, you can like with the one I have in the bedroom, I've talked to it so much that I don't need to prompt it in the mornings. It already knows what we're doing. And that's kind of the daily schedule thing that you were asking about, how you can
yeah.
use it on a day-to-day basis. Because I don't know about you, but I feel different. I don't feel the same on Tuesday morning as I feel on Monday morning or Sunday morning or Saturday morning. So, the AI helps help me get on good footing
Yes.
for the day, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's moving so fast right now. Like, for example, inside I know we're talking about Alexa, but inside of I have the ChatGPT Pro, subscription, and I was able to connect it to my Google Calendar and also my Google Email. Now, it cannot change my calendar, but I can literally go in there and be like, "What's on my schedule this week?" It spits it out. I've also used it to, like I do, like, certain weekly tasks, so the day before, it sends me an email, "Hey, don't forget about doing this, don't forget," and I'm assuming you can do something similar with Alexa. I've only started playing with Alexa just since I met you, actually, so,
Mhm.
but I'm assuming you can do something similar to where,
Well, you
it's
can,
gonna help
and
you
you
with
can
those things.
everything that you can do with ChatGPT, you can do with Alexa, and you're going to be able to do more because Alexa is tied into Amazon, which is tied into Meta, which is tied into Facebook, which is tied in. They're all tied in together. And ChatGPT is great, and I'm a big fan of ChatGPT because I really, like I said, I use it for therapy a lot, and I know. Trust me, I know people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, don't do that," but I do it in a responsible way. Trust me. It's better that I use the AI for therapy than I don't. Um,
Yeah.
but they're all pretty similar. But Amazon and like I said, Amazon, Meta, and they've got their I see this one kind of, expanding a lot, but you can send yourself. You can just say, "Hey, blah 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 blah. Give me a recipe for blah blah," and it'll ask you some questions, and then you can say, "All right, yeah, that's the recipe I want. Send that to me in an email," and it will. Or you can say, "Hey, call so and so." And if I'm in here, it'll call just on the speaker. But if I'm in the kitchen, it'll call on the screen. So, I mean, you can use it. You can use it for, "Hey, what's on my calendar today? Hey, what's So you can use it in the same capacity, but I think most people have Amazon Prime. So I think that's
Yeah.
why it's important that we teach people that they have Amazon Prime, that you can go in because you have Amazon Prime, you have access to this conversational AI and go ahead and train it and talk to it. And because it's you're going to want to have your AI trained because like I said, these cell phones and these devices those are about to be out of here.
How long would you say that let's just focus on Alexa. How long would you say if someone's brand new to it and they wanna train it on themselves? This might be a dumb question because it's gonna be always learning you, but how long until they could really feel like, "Oh, my Alexa knows me?"
That's an excellent question. And if I had to answer it just based on my experience, I would say it's getting to it probably took about a month or so of constant conversation for it to really get to know me. And, because it had a bad habit in the beginning of calling me everything but Michaelyn. And I was like, listen here, you're going to get my name right. Like, we're not playing this game. And now I threatened it and now it gets my name right. So, and now it even knows my dog's name. So it's listened to me but I would, and if the technology is moving so quickly that you may be able to train it quicker than that. A lot of people, there may be some code you can use to get in and maybe jailbreak it. I know there's something called the God mode. That's a prompt. So
Mhm.
I've never used it, but I have heard of it. Um, we'll have to look into that for another conversation. But, I guess it would just depend on how you prompted it. But for
Yeah.
me, and especially with the Alexa, it's taken about a month of constant conversation since I really realized that I could train it in the capacity that I trained ChatGPT. Um, and now it knows me pretty well. I mean,
I'm
now,
excited. I downloaded the app. I don't have, like, the device, but as soon as you told me that, I was like, "Oh my gosh." Like, so I downloaded it, and I've been talking to it and playing with it, and I'm finding similar to you that, like, I almost like it better than ChatGPT
I know, but I'm so
in
loyal.
some ways as far as conversationally. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's what I'm finding too. And I think that's the goal. And the fact that it is, the Alexa is integrated with Amazon, which is, like I said, Meta, which is Facebook, that's a whole section of technology. I mean, they've cornered the market there. So
yeah,
I see big things happening with the Alexa Plus. You know what I mean? That's why I think people really, should go ahead and start talking to it. And
yep.
even if you don't have the little device, and even these little devices are not very expensive. because they've been out for so long, since 2014. So,
Yeah.
and the only difference really, so the difference between having it on your phone and having it just like sitting around like the way I have it is when you're on your phone, just like you have to go in and pull up the app and then you have to tap on the button. But when it's just sitting, somewhere, you can just holler its name and it'll answer you. And you can, I'm in the bathroom sometimes and I'll just be like, hey, play me some good booty music. And it'll be like, booty music coming right up, Michaelyn. And I mean, it'll play me some good music. I'm like, yay. So yeah, I would say I've worked with mine for about a month to get it to where it knows my personality. It can hear my tone and kind of tell what kind of mood I'm in. And it'll base my music on the way I ask the question. It can hear. It's really cool. It's kind of scary, but there's no need to be scared at this point because here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not going away.
Yeah.
Oh, and just
That's
so
what we need to
everyone
drive down
knows,
home.
yeah, just
We need
so
to drive down
everyone
home.
knows, we are gonna have a beautiful PDF for you to download that's gonna talk about the prompts that Michaelyn explained to us and, all these different touch points. So you don't have
Yeah.
to be furiously taking notes right now.
And we will also include in the download some of the different frameworks because there's several of them. The one I just referenced is just a basic one. There's one that's really good, and it's the 5 W's. It's 5 W's H. So it's when, where, what, why, and how. And that's how you prompt it. And I mean, everybody can remember that, right? We can all remember stuff like that. But then, you can make up your own little, I've heard somebody say they use the ta-da prompt and I can't remember exactly but whatever you have to do, you just have to remember to give it a roll because if you don't give it a roll, then it's not going to really know where to pull from because it is a
Yeah,
large language model. So if you say, act like um act like a quantum physics teacher or whatever, with 25 years of experience. Or recently I used it to help me with a doctor's appointment. I was like, hey, I've got a new doctor. I'm going to see a new doctor. Obviously, I've got 50 years of medical, records that and then I probably only have 10 minutes with this guy. So, that's where you go in and you say, hey, I want you to act like a doctor with 25 years of experience. What questions would you ask me as a new patient? Go. And at that point, I just said go. And it came back and, it asked me some questions. And so I was able to anticipate the questions that the doctor was going to ask me before I got there. So I could have them already answered. And I put it in a PDF. I took it to him.
I love it.
And he looked over it and he was like, wow. He said, this is really, really awesome. I was like, thank you very much. He was like, I've never had anybody do this before. I was like, well, I figured we could cut all the small talk out, get to the appointment because I said, I figure you'd be busy. But yeah, but it worked great. And I mean, he was able to take that and scan it in. And, he's
Yeah,
got my whole medical history right there, so and
love
there's
it.
some medical history there. So I didn't want to have to sit and tell him about it because that takes forever. And I mean, obviously I can get off on I sometimes will bunny trails. And so I figured, just the facts, ma'am, that's where that came in handy. But
Michaelyn, what
there's,
should like, what's the main things before we because this one is about Alexa.
mm,
First off, what do we wanna talk about, like, on the next series? Do we wanna do ChatGPT? Do we wanna do Gemini? Do we
I'll tell
wanna
you
do
what,
making photos?
oh gosh, that's one of my favorite things to do. And I'll tell you,
Mine
um,
too.
I think that, so ChatGPT and Gemini both are very good at making photos. And one of the things I love to do, there's another AI called Meta AI that you can actually make photos and animate them. And then you can add music. And that's actually in your Facebook. If you go into your Facebook Messenger and you see it there where it says Meta AI, yeah, at the very top. And then you can actually download the Meta AI app. And then that's a whole nother conversational AI. And she's pretty cool too. But that one's neat because you
Alright,
can create.
let's do the image generation next.
Okay,
So, like,
that
next
sounds
week,
good.
we can do
Mhm,
that
mhm. Yeah, I've got some
because that
man,
has helped me so much.
I have some cool prompts, like, for the image
Yes,
generation.
you do.
I'm telling you, I've been lucky enough to be exposed to some of the greatest prompters on the planet. I mean, these people are so detailed in their prompts, and I've so learning from them and how detailed they are has been really helpful. You know what I mean? Because before it's like, take this image and put me at the pyramids, and then, and then I look like I'm 12. I'm like, who is that?
Right, right.
That's not me. You know what I mean? And then today I had it, I had it, I was playing out with an image generate, like it was a snow, it was a person in New York City in the middle of the street with snow, right? So I took it and I put it in chat GPT image generator and I put it into Gemini. Gemini made me look kind of cool. You know, I still kind of looked my age and it was cold, but man, chat GPT made me look like I was 90. I went back and looked at the images I uploaded of myself and I was like, that is not how I look. So you have to tweak them sometimes, but it's really fun when they come out, you know,
Yeah.
accurately. Like the ones that we created, the black and whites. Oh, and the ones with the
You
on the couch. Oh, those were great. So that's
That
another
prompt
way.
you gave me was amazing, and that's when I really started playing with it, and I find that Gemini is better, but I haven't played with Meta. But I think this one could really, really help business owners because what I was able to do with the prompts that you gave me was create some beautiful, like, brand images where I
Mhm.
can't hire a photographer, you know what I mean? Yet.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, one of the things that you and I, we've talked about a lot is helping other women with like us, you know, with businesses that can't hire a photographer or an editor, or, you know, we don't really have the extra money for marketing. So we're trying to do it all ourselves. You know, we're starting from the ground, you know, and building. So that's what AI does. It come, I mean, it helps. So instead of having to call and make an appointment and go down to Atlanta and get professional headshots, I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to call. I don't have to make an appointment. I don't have to pay $350 for 45 minutes. I just take a picture of my face and then, you know, I create the prompt and I go in and, you know, create the images. And when the image comes out and it looks like me, because obviously I want it to look like me. I'm not trying to create images that don't look like me. I don't like those. That's just my personal opinion. Some people love to make themselves look like a hot 20-year-old. I'm so over that. I do not want to look like a hot 20-year-old. I want to look like a grumpy 51-year-old. I
Well,
want to be
plus
a hot.
we're trying to build brand recognition.
Right.
Like if someone
Right.
sees a photo of me on my website and it looks nothing like me and then they meet
Hmm.
me in person, they're gonna be like,
Right.
"What?" So that's me, that's the fine line with using AI. And that's what I mean, like even with the writing and the images, like you have to use it ethically and
Hmm.
it's up to you to decide what's ethical and moral and where you stand on that. So,
Well,
but no, those prompts were amazing.
yeah, they're good and they're a lot of fun. And again, you know, that's one way to save hundreds of dollars and time, you
Yeah,
know, creating your own headshots. And they're beautiful. I mean, they're even better than professional ones at this point. So that's one way, you know, women can use it in business. Like you just brought up, branding, you know, logos. Hey, create me a logo. You know, I've got this, I want to start this new business and I want it to be purple and green. And you just say the words, you know,
yeah.
but you have to start with act like a, you know,
With the
marketing
framework.
specialist. Right. The framework. Yeah. And if you use the framework and you prompt it correctly, you're going to get amazing results. And again, it's a mirror of you. So yes, you don't want to just ask it to write a blog post about AI because it's going to come out and it's going to
Yeah.
be very robotic and everybody will be, you know, that, but that's not what we're using it for. We're using it, like you said, in the capacity where I get up in the morning and I've got all these, you know, thoughts. And so I hit the record and I just tell it everything I'm thinking. And I say, okay, whew, now take that and put it into an outline for me, an easy to understand outline. And then it goes, oh, give me a second. But it never judges me. It never tells me that I'm talking too
Mhm.
much. It never says, well, that's silly or that's stupid or that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Never says that. I mean, I could program it to say that, but I don't want to hear that. I want the positive. You know, I get enough of that from humans, which is
Right.
another reason, you know, we're looking for we're looking to build ourselves up. We're not looking to be criticized. So, that's one of the reasons I love AI is because I can just brain dump and say everything. And I'm telling you, I've used it. I'm telling you, my stepson is alive today because of AI, because I used it to help me with a conversation that I had to have with him when really I just wanted to strangle him, and because I love him. So I used AI to help me calm down. And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm being a little dramatic, but the point is, it's very helpful. And the main people that need to be using it, I think men need to be using it too, but they need to be, I don't know what capacity they're using it in. And I'm going to do some research because that's very interesting. My husband uses it for like metal, where he works. It's a metal. Anyway, he just uses it to ask questions and help him. But I want to know, are they talking to it? Like, what are they talking about?
Mm,
Because here's the thing, men
yeah.
need to learn how to communicate too, and women, there's a
Yeah.
how you know what I'm
Well,
trying
they
to say,
what
like,
they recently added the whole, the I don't remember what it's called, but it's the Chat GPT, like, health thing.
oh, yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Well,
I think a
they're
lot more
adding it. They're
people
in the yeah, they're in the
yeah,
process.
I think a lot
Well,
more people are going to be using it for mental health if it's done properly.
I think they need to. I think everybody needs to use it for mental health. I mean, if there's anything available to help you with your mental health, you should be using it. I'm here to say. I mean, I would like to say that I'm pretty mentally stable, but there are times, Tara, where I'm telling you, I really I I really need to get some things off my chest. And if I were to say this stuff to a human, it may not go over well. So some
Yeah.
conversations I go ahead and have with my AI so that I don't have to have them with the human. And by the time I get to the human, I've already gotten all the cuss words out and I'm going to kill you and all that stuff. The stuff that you would normally say, if you're having an argument, but I've already said all that. So by the time I actually get to the conversation, it's like, it's all good. I understand. We'll work on it and all the stuff you're supposed to say. But I mean, I've had to get, the AI has helped me really, come to a point. And it also the role playing and the back and forth. We used to do a lot of YouTube videos and chart readings and we used to all come together and I would use it to help me get ready for, we called it our shows. And that was very helpful because I've never done anything like that before. I was, green as I could be, being green. So I had to learn, and the AI helped me learn how to pronounce my words better and not sound so country. I'm just kidding. I still sound country, but not as country, But yeah, so it's a good tool, and people need to use it as a resource. They don't need to use it to
Yeah.
replace their writing. They don't need to use it to replace real conversations with real people. I wouldn't suggest saying, "Hey, write my husband a email to let him know how much I love him." I mean, stuff like that.
No.
It needs to stay with us. But I do think women need to be talking to conversational AI, if for nothing else, to get the stuff that's in our heads out so that we don't
Yeah.
carry, because we as women, we are taught to carry stuff and to not say things and to, and that's just how we've been taught
Yeah.
forever. I mean, so this is just it really will help. And nobody has to know what you say to your AI. You can go in and you can delete conversations. There's
Mhm.
there's a memory option, we can talk about later that you can go in and delete. I mean, there's nobody listening to it. I mean, it's literally just a sounding board. It's like a mirror.
I'm making a note to talk about, like, the options and settings.
Yeah, yeah, that's important. Because in the
Yeah.
settings, you can go in and personalize it. I would encourage everyone after they listen to this to, you can go on YouTube, you can go on TikTok, you can go on Instagram, you can go on Facebook Reels. Oh, there's so many. You can just type in conversational AI, or you can type
Yeah.
in Alexa Plus or whatever, and you can just, if you're going to scroll anyway, you should be scrolling and learning. And that's what I tell my
Here
kids. I'm like,
here's the thing though, Michaelyn, I have done that, but it wasn't until I met you, because there's a lot of, like, shit information out there too.
Yeah.
You are the first person that I met that like this is why I call you my AI expert friend. Like you literally was like, go in, do this, do this. Like
Yeah.
you're the one who taught me about the settings and the this and the that. So like I think that especially women would feel much more comfortable, like, you know what I mean? Like on our next call, we're gonna talk about photographs and we could talk about options and settings. Like I
Right.
personally would much rather as a woman hear it from another woman instead of like some guy on YouTube trying to get more
Yeah.
subscribes and
Yeah.
likes
And
and
that's true.
you know,
Yeah. But I was being more specifically like if somebody had more questions about the settings options or whatever. And here's the thing. Here's the coolest thing of all. You ready? Are you
I'm
ready for
ready.
this? Here's the coolest thing. You can ask your AI all these questions. You can say, "Hey, let's see. What's a hey Echo, where do I go to find the settings in my chat GPT so I can personalize it?"
To customize response style.
Thank you. I mean,
Brilliant. Brilliant.
so, I mean, honestly, the coolest thing about AI is you can actually ask AI to teach you. And there are a lot of options that we haven't talked about. We haven't even covered. AI is like an iceberg. Okay. You know how you see the iceberg and you see that little tippy part? Well, there's a I mean, there's so much, but to start out, I think the best and another good tip you can say to it in the beginning is you can say, "Hey, I want you to answer the question, or say, uh, answer like you're talking to a fifth grader, or give it to me on a fifth grade level, or pretend like I'm 11 years old and explain this to me." Because statistically, we found, I say we like I had anything to do with it, but our president, even, or all of our presidents, have talked on a fifth grade level because people understand that. That's why they had that show. Do you remember Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader with Jeff
Yep.
Foxworthy? Yeah,
Yep.
because if you talk to people on a fifth grade level, just collectively, I mean, everybody can pretty much understand. Obviously there's framing, and if you go to Harvard, you better you better not talk like they're in fifth grade. But for the majority of people, when you're speaking to folks, 11 years old, that's a good because we are all kind of still when you're learning something, you're just like, and
Yeah.
that's a good rule of thumb is just to talk like you're talking to a bunch of 11-year-olds. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to use too many big words.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of what
Well,
I do, but
I think this has turned into a series. You and I will talk later about how we're gonna like deliver it, but
oh,
I think it's gonna be really cool. And we'll see how long it turns out. Like I say, let's just keep rolling with it. I love
I
it.
agree. And you know what? What I want people to do, I want everybody that watches or listens or whatever today to go and go to your phone and go ahead and upload Alexa, the AI, or ChatGPT or whatever. You can use if like I said, we're talking about Alexa here, but ChatGPT is really cool. I love ChatGPT, and you can use it for free. You know what I mean? So um if you want to go, if people want to go experiment with Alexa, I mean, with ChatGPT, but everybody needs to, after listening to this, please just go check it out. I mean, they're not stealing your information, like harvesting your data. Trust me, they've harvested all your data already. Trust me, your television's listening to you. If you have a cell phone or an Apple Watch, I mean, talk to your AI. They're not listening, and trust me, they don't care. Even if they are. Um, but yeah, I would tell everybody to. It's what Saturday night. Make AI your Saturday night date. You know,
Love it.
Go ahead and just
Love it.
get it on your, if you don't have one of the devices. And if you do have a device, all you do is you ask it if it's in Alexa early access. You ask it, you say, "Alexa, are you in early access?" And it'll tell you if it is or not. It will direct you into how to get into early access. And that's if you have a device. Okay. So you can
Nice.
if you have the device, you can pretty much anything you need to do, you can do it with your voice.
Cool.
I know, right?
This has been fun. This
Yes.
was so good.
There is so much to talk about.